everyone, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us. It's Ariel and
Raylene. Hello, hello.
Woo.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. You know, we're in a new era. We're in a new era in a lot of ways. We're in our double married era, but we're also in our recording every other week era. I gotta say, I mean, I get that we're on week 2. But it's working.
It's so far very good.
It's so good because I actually feel charged up with lots to talk about.
Yes.
We have lots to talk about. And obviously, this is our first reading update since we've gotten back from the whole month off. So we have plenty of books to review, which is very exciting. Mm-hmm. God, Raylene, I'm so excited about the books I'm going to review.
Oh, yeah?
One in particular, which I think I already told you about, but I read a new all-time life favorite book.
Whoa.
One of the greats, okay? This is one of the books I'm going to be talking about forever. And I'm so... And not only that, it has literally... I'm not kidding. It's literally caused a complete change in my reading. Like, I'm a different reader. I'm a different reader.
Oh my gosh.
You thought I was the same reader, but I'm not. You're talking to a whole new co-host.
Oh my god, I'm so excited and terrified at the same time. What does this
mean? Yeah, it is
mean?
a little scary. I myself am a little scared. The repercussions are huge, as you will see later on in this episode.
Okay.
But we're also going to be doing the end of the year book tag in this episode, which is a book tag I created, I think it was 8 years ago now, which is hilarious. But I made this tag because basically I'm like, at the end of the year, there's a certain vibe to your reading, you know, especially if you're a reader who sets goals. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, there's only a few months left of the year. What can I achieve in those months? What can I like get done? What are my priorities? It's a little bit of TBR madness. And so, I made it a long time ago, and we've done it on the podcast, I think, every year. And so we're fitting it into this episode. Yeah, it's going to be a juicy one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we start with shall we start with the juciest thing? The other juiciest thing, should I stop saying juicy so much?
Yeah, maybe.
I can.
I think you're overdoing the juice.
The other juicy factor here, and our audio listeners, unfortunately, can't enjoy this with us video watchers. I have bangs.
Oh, yeah.
I got bangs, baby. I got a fringe for my British friends.
Aww.
Flequillo for my Spanish friends.
Very good.
Okay, let me tell you. I'm sorry. I have to talk about this, Raylene. I feel that when my bangs look good, I'm at the highest of highs.
Oh, yeah.
It's like my best appearance. We all feel those, like, you know, I'm looking pretty good today days. When my bangs look dumb, I look worse than my average. That's my opinion. And so, not having bangs is the kind of neutral, safe choice.
Yes.
Because my hair, I think, usually looks pretty good on those days when I don't have bangs, and so I feel pretty confident. So I've been going on a real back and forth kick with bangs for years, and then I decided in 2024, one of my New Year's resolutions was to not cut my bangs.
Yeah.
I was like, we gotta let these babies grow out, reinvest in our long hair, see where we get to. I enjoyed that phase. Nearing the end of 2024, I was like, you know, I'm going to get bangs again in 2025. I did a year without them. But then I thought, I don't want to have bangs at my wedding, actually. And so I was like, I'm not going to cut bangs. And so it's basically been 2 years of not having bangs.
Yeah.
And the second I got back from the honeymoon, chopped them off.
Yep.
I wanted my hairdresser to do them, but they are booked until like late October.
Even just
like,
for
no.
bangs?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, they're very busy. And I get it. They're very
good.
talented.
I mean, that's good.
But I was like, I gotta do this. And I was like, I'm gonna do them and then they can fix them in a few months.
Yeah, great solution. The girl needs bangs right now.
I needed them right away. And I cut them. And I gotta say, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying the bangs.
That's good.
I think bangs in fall, especially, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a vibe.
I have a question for you. Something that I always
little
wonder
jolly
for people with
vibe.
curly hair. How do you vibe with your bangs? Like, do you straighten them, or do you just let them be curly, or do you do both?
I do both.
Okay.
It's a relearning process because obviously, okay, first of all, your hair texture does change throughout your entire life. And like the type of hair that I had 5 years ago is not the exact same. I look at photos of myself when I was like 20 and I'm like, whoa, yeah, my hair was way bigger. Like just generally bigger. So, you know, your hair texture changes, but also, and this actually, Raylene, we have to talk about this, okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of gray in the bangs now.
Ooh, yeah,
I
that's
am
true.
becoming a what they call a salt and pepper person or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
there is a peppering effect going on here. It's it's causing some existential woes. It's so funny because everyone I like complain about it to my brother, to Lena. Everyone's just like, it looks cool. It's a cool thing. And I'm like, I think it's cool on other people because you're like, wow, mature, sophisticated. But when it's you, you're like, I'm aging. I'm seeing my own like disintegration before my eyes. My little cells can no longer make the dye they made. You know what I mean? Like,
your poor
that's
little
scary.
cells.
Those poor little cells, they've gone to permanent sleep. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a little scary. But anyways, there's a lot. And my like white hairs they are also curly, but they have a different texture to my other. So anyways, I'm relearning how to style them. For today, I use my flat iron to kind of swoosh them a little bit.
That's what I do too with my curtain bangs that I have.
The other day, I did it with a blow dryer and like a big like wired brush type thing. And I think that looked better.
I was going to say the one time like I got kind of curtain bangs cut, they were a little bit shorter than what they are right now. And the hairdresser used a brush and a blow dryer to style them. And I've never seen them look as good as they did that day. Like I've never been able to recreate it. Yeah, because it just adds more air, more volume. Like it makes them look happier.
Looked more natural, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more natural than the flat iron. I think it's a little too like flattening. Obviously, that's what it does. It's a flat iron. But anyways. Let's end this, I guess, conversation by saying I'm excited by the new bangs. I'm relearning them. Some days they like wake up and they're really curly. It depends on how recently I showered and all that, but I'm having a good time.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Raylene.
They're looking cute. I'm loving it. I love bangs, Ariel. Whenever I see old photos of you and your hair was like short with bangs, I'm like, that was a vibe.
That was a vibe.
That was a whole time for you.
That was a really interesting moment. That was my little Parisian era.
Yes. Like Belly in Paris.
Yes. Actually, yes. We're gonna let's insert some photos here of Ariel versus Belly in Paris. Pretty good stuff.
Similar. I can picture it.
I don't want to say I inspired Belly, but
probably did.
All right. So I said that was the juiciest topic, but actually there is a juicier topic. Backpack haul.
The thing that everybody wanted.
You've been begging. We're finally caving in. Raylene, how about you explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago when we sat down to record, like very excited to do our big wedding episode, big haul, Ariel was like, do you want to see my new backpack? And I was like, yeah. And so she showed me her backpack, explained all the different zippers, all the different compartments to me. And I was like, that's fantastic. I really want to get I've been wanting to get a new backpack for a while because I have one that's kind of small. It doesn't have great support, doesn't fit a whole lot, but it's been doing, enough for me for the time being. But we're going to be going on a little trip and I'm only going to be bringing a backpack on the plane. And I'm like, I need a bigger backpack to make sure that this works. And so Kyle and I, over the weekend, I'll talk about the whole shenanigans that we got up to, but we went shopping specifically for backpacks. And so we both bought a backpack. So now you and I both have a backpack that we can haul. And it's kind of also a back to school vibe. That was kind of where it all came from. Like, I think that's why you got your backpack.
Well, yeah, when I got back from the honeymoon, I was like, I'm feeling some serious back to school vibes. I even got a new backpack.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, no, I want that.
Yeah, I was inspired to get a new backpack. God, we're going to say backpack so many times in the next few minutes. Backpack. A real Dora the Explorer energy there. So when I went on my honeymoon, this was a real interesting stress test for my existing backpack. A backpack I had already been starting to grow weary of, even though I hadn't had it for that long. Basically, I had a backpack a while ago and I wore it out. And it was also like it didn't fit my general vibe anymore. It really felt like a student's backpack.
Ooh, okay.
And I was like, I want something that's a little more mature. And so I bought this new backpack like a year ago. It never worked. It just never clicked. Part of the problem, in my opinion, it was a Fuel Raven bag, but not one of the square ones. It was a smaller 20-liter thing. Part of the problem was that, isn't that hilarious that backpacks are measured in liters.
I learned
how
that
much water can I carry in my backpack?
I learned that when I was trying to figure out which backpack I wanted. I was like, 40 liter. What? 20, huh? What are we talking about here?
Okay, it's good to know. Anyways, I realized that backpack just was too compartmentalized. Like, I don't know what it is about backpack manufacturers. They think we need 1 million compartments, which is, I think, completely incorrect. I know that there's going to be some people out there who love a compartment.
Yeah,
but I think most people use pencil cases and bags and like your makeup bag and your pencil case and your whatever, your wallet. You have little bags you're putting in the big bag, the backpack. You don't need like 4 mesh zippered pockets and 3 little pouches and these little things. And what they ultimately do is just take up a lot of room and make a lot of the backpack actually unusable.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And then like basically my big compartment was sliced in 3 and I was like, I could fit in so much more if I didn't have this stuff in the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
And also like, it was more of a like commuter student e-bag, not in look, but in design, I think. And I was like, if I was a student, this might be a great backpack. But that's not what I am anymore. What the hell am I? I'm a traveler, actually. Just when it comes to backpacks. So tag yourself. What kind of a backpack are you? I'm a traveler, it turns out, because I use my backpack most of the time. God, I'm already sick of saying backpack lately. I use my bag the most when I'm traveling. And that includes like traveling to Halifax for a day or a weekend, or traveling like just in the car for a road trip or something. Like I want to put everything in my backpack and go. And like you're saying, for a trip, I go on a lot of trips, and so my backpack and my carry-on are all that I ever take.
Yeah.
And so the backpack is actually core. And so I wanted something that had just one big pocket. That was my dream. None of this tiny compartment nonsense. Just a big pocket. And maybe some nice other little features if we could swing it.
Yeah.
And hopefully something cute. I landed on this Patagonia bag. Obviously, this is not sponsored. And I will say, I have not stress tested this enough to say if I like it or not yet.
But he's cute.
He's cute. So first of all, we're all calling it the bug bag. I thought I wanted this bag, and then I went to Mech, which is a Canadian like camping store basically. I spent like 40 minutes in there comparing backpacks, and I brought it down to 3. Then the next day I went back into Mech with my brother and Connor and me, and I showed them the 3 backpacks that I liked, and we all decided this was the one. And we're all calling it bug bag because it kind of looks like a beetle shell or an ant shell. It's this really beautiful rust color. I love the color. The color's perfect. I love the look of it. It looks a little adventure-y, but a little mature as well. Not too like, I'm going camping. It's Patagonia, so it's obviously really nice quality. But most importantly, all we have here, get ready, Raylene. Oh, ASMR zipper sound. Oh, whoa. Awesome. Look at that, everyone. If you're watching the video version. If you're not, big pocket, huge pocket, and then oh god, the zipper sound. One pocket at the back for your laptop, or for me, books. I always like stack books on top of each other, so that's perfect. But I just have this one huge pocket. I'm excited. The only controversy with this bag, really, is the front.
It's kind of weird. Yeah.
It is. It's a vertical pocket instead of a horizontal pocket. Yeah. Like the zipper runs down vertically from the top to the bottom of the front of the bag.
Instead of a
like
bag.
A jacket.
Yeah.
Yes, like a jacket instead of like horizontally across the top like a pouch.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, what do we know?
I would love to know what you end up putting in there and if it is what you want. Like if it's what you were expecting.
I know exactly what you mean. So we'll report. Well, we should definitely report back in a few months about once we've stress tested.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be using my backpack for a trip very soon, so that'll be good. I haven't used it at all yet. So what happened with me, it's funny. I like how you like did a lot, not like research, but you like did a lot of thinking about your backpack. You had other people considering the pros
Some
and
might
cons.
say I overthought it.
I would think so. I did the complete opposite thing. So Kyle, as is expected of me, I guess, we walked into Sport Check because we were at a mall and we were like, let's just go check Sport Check first. This mall has a bunch of other bag stores. Like, we've got lots of options. We walk into Sport Check. There's backpacks immediately right when you walk in. I looked at them.
I guess because back to school.
Yeah. And so I just like looked at them quickly and I was like, oh, I think that might be the one. Let me go look at it a little closer. So I go look at it a little closer. I'm like, yeah, seems pretty good, but I'm going to just leave it here. We'll walk around, come back. You know, if I need a backpack still at the end of this, I will come back and grab him. By the end, Kyle found a backpack somewhere upstairs in the atmosphere section of the Sport Check.
Yeah. Nice.
And so there's lots of like, you know, hiking, like really intense camping ones up there as well, which I was like, okay, we definitely don't need that. But in the end, we went back downstairs and I ended up grabbing the first one that I had seen.
Classic.
And here he is.
Oh, he's very cute.
He's
I
a
love
lavender.
the color scheme.
He's a light purple and he is Adidas. So you've got like some details on the front that are in like this turquoise teal color, which historically has been my favorite color for many, many years.
Yeah.
But it also has a little bit of pink on it. Like the zipper grabber thingies are pink.
Great.
And mine is kind of similar to you. It has one like big laptop pouch, which
sleeve.
I need because if I travel back home, I need to bring a laptop so I can do work and stuff. But then it also just has one big pouch.
Huge pouch.
Which does have like this little mesh thing, which who knows if I'll use it. But that could be good for a book. That's a good like little spot where a book could hang out. And then it's just got, cool. It does have a little front section as well, which I will almost certainly not use because that is the piece of a backpack I care about the least. But it's good to have.
I'm liking the look of that top little pocket, the tiny pocket there.
Yeah.
That's like right above the logo.
Yeah, that's where you can put sunglasses or coins or trinkets of some kind.
Or your like little camera or your phone or your wallet if you're just like at home and need a place to put them. That's like the very ready access slot.
That's true. And
I like
it's got
that.
two water bottle holders. And it also has one of the strappy things. So if you have it really full, it's really heavy, it kind of adds some extra support. Because when you say you're a traveler, for me, I'm more of a in-between person who just like will do different things. So either I might take it hiking or I will take it on a trip. Or if I was doing, even just like an overnight trip, sort of like you with the Halifax. If I was just going to a friend's house for the night or whatever, I would use this backpack. So I wanted something that could work for all things. And I wanted it to
Would you say from the zoo to the woods? Raylene's backpack.
That's actually true. Zoo and woods. I do love bringing a backpack to the zoo because being hands-free is awesome. So, I don't know what that makes me. Just a person with a backpack.
Awesome. Do you know how many liters your backpack is?
I cut off the tag, but it's maybe in the 30 range, something like that.
Mine is 26.
Okay, mine's pretty big. Like, it's pretty tall and seems like it can hold a lot. But
I'm typing in Adidas lavender backpack. I'm not even
and there's
seeing
two.
Your back. Oh, I see it.
I came across another lavender backpack that almost ruined the game for me. But then I went back to this one because that one didn't have a good laptop pouch.
This is a nice backpack. I'm excited about this backpack right now. I'm looking at it and I'm liking it. Does it say details? Here we go. It's not saying the weight load on this guy. Again, we literally just said we don't know why it would possibly matter how many liters it holds.
Yeah, I don't know.
And yet now I really want to know. It doesn't matter. It looks great. I like the look of this backpack.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. The moment I grabbed it, Kyle was like, "Of course you would pick that one." Like, it's just like such a me backpack.
It really is.
I'm a sucker for lavender and all the cute little other colors. It's just perfect. It's just what I want. Meanwhile, Kyle got something with like 800 pouches and zippers because that's more his vibe. But yeah.
I'm excited to hear about our backpacks. I also am proud of us for picking fun, happy backpacks. You know, we didn't go the old traditional dark black route.
Yep.
We chose some colors, some funkiness.
Sure
All
did.
right. Well, everyone, that's our back to school backpack haul. Hope you can relate. Just two 30-year-old women with their new backpacks.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I've got some stuff in my backpack. Are you ready?
Yeah. Let's hear all about it.
I'm really enjoying the zipper sounds.
Yeah,
okay,
that's nice.
I've got 3 books I've got to haul.
Ooh,
Shall we haul them?
Haul them.
Well, I have 3 books to haul because I found 2 of them that I was given at the wedding.
Oh.
And I totally gapped it. Let me just say, the wedding was obviously crazy. And so at the end, we were packing stuff into bins and things and putting things away. And then this past weekend, we did something really fun. Well, I say really fun. It was also a lot of work, but it was fun. We had fun. We wrote all of our thank you cards to everyone who like gave us a wedding gift. And so while we were doing that, I went through some bins because we had bought the thank you cards a couple weeks before, and I had just put them in the wedding bin so that everything was together. And as I was rooting around, I found these 2 books, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to haul them, because you're going to see they're very memorable. It's ridiculous that I forgot them.
Okay.
The first one is another copy of Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. This was gifted to me by my new sister-in-law, mint sister-in-law, brand new, hot off the press. Isn't that so beautiful? I gained 3 sisters-in-law. I think it's sisters-in-law.
Yeah.
And 1 new brother-in-law. I have all these new siblings.
That's crazy. I love that. I only got
I know,
1.
that's so cute.
I'm jealous.
I only got 1. I was gifted this by sweet Maureen, who you met obviously at the wedding. Love Maureen. Actually, a little obsessed with Maureen.
Yeah. I only met her briefly, and I'm a little obsessed with her too.
I know. She's incredible. Awesome. But this copy of Anne of Green Gables is really pretty. It's one of the paper mill press ones I've seen kicking around. It's like a nice leather bound edition. And it's actually, I haven't given these copies enough credit. It's a very nice, it's nicely printed. It's on nice paper and everything. Good. But what really makes this copy amazing, obviously other than the sentiment of being gifted it, is that Maureen bedazzled it, Raylene.
Oh my God.
She bedazzled. Isn't
That's
amazing?
So cute. Wow.
So
I've never thought to do that. That's so cute.
It really shines in the light of my window, the
jewels
sunlight. She bedazzled the front of this copy, and she gifted Connor a copy of Dune, and she bedazzled that.
Oh my God.
She's a genius.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, she's a genius. So that is just, I obviously have a lot of copies of Anne of Green Gables, but I don't have any that are bedazzled.
No.
So that, pretty amazing. Next up in here, I was given this by Kaylee Hyde, our sweet social media producer here. A new copy of Animal Farm.
Oh, that one's
by
cool.
Mr. Jorge Orwell. Yeah, it's pretty horrifying.
It's pretty scary.
It's a very, very creepy copy, but she mentioned that she had found it and she thought I'd like it. And I do. So that is awesome. That's such a disturbing copy. Okay, and the final book I have in my backpack, oh wonders, already the backpack is serving me very well, it seems, is the last weekend Yes? What day is it? I don't remember when we went, but we went to, we just went on a weekend out, a day out even. We went to the beach, we went to a little town. It was very cute, and we went to a bookshop, and I found this book, which interestingly, I had thought about buying Connor or buying myself for the wedding, but it said it would take too long to arrive. Okay. And I was like, that's all right. I have other ideas. And I just ended up shifting away from it. And then I found it at this used bookstore for like $10 or something. I was like, oh, it's in perfect condition. It's Letters to Vera by Vladimir Nabokov.
Do you want to hear something crazy? That was the book I was going to get for you for your wedding gift. But then I ended up getting you a different book. But I'm really glad that you ended up with it because I really wanted to get it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So obviously the universe really wanted me to get this book. You guys know that a couple years ago, I read a few letter collections and just kind of really fell in love with that form of writing. Letters are so beautiful and intimate and interesting. And it's like gossip. It's like being nosy, but in like such a beautiful literary way where you're just like reading this gorgeous prose, especially when it's by famous authors. Yeah. And you're like, wow, imagine receiving that letter or whatever. It's just beautiful. And so Vladimir Nabokov, obviously most famously the author of Lolita, loved his wife, like obsessed with his wife, and would write her all these love letters and everything. And it just sounds really beautiful. It says, from their first encounter in 1923, Vladimir's letters to Vera chronicle a half-century-long love story, one that is playful, romantic, and memorable. At the same time, the letters reveal much about their author. So It sounds really fun.
Yeah.
And it is quite huge.
It's chunky.
It is chunky. How many pages is? Oh, there's a lot of index and appendix and stuff actually. But it's like, oh, I was like, it is not 1970 42 pages long. That's the year.
I'm guessing
like
800, something like that.
It's about 500 pages
Okay.
if you don't include the appendix and everything. So I thought that one sounded really cool, and I'm excited to dip into that when the spirit takes me.
I also have some fun stories from the past couple of weeks.
Take us on a tale then.
Okay.
Take us on a little spin.
Okay, so I have a couple of like just minor things that are like fun things I've been doing, and then I have a couple of like juicy things, to bring it back to the juicy stuff. But to start it off, I just wanted to announce that I have been playing Stardew Valley again, but not only have I been playing Stardew Valley, I somehow have been able to rope in Kyle and my brother. So I have a Stardew farm with two people
so
I
cute.
never thought I would get to have a Stardew farm with. And it's been so nice. So that's just been like a fun little happy side quest in my life, is like, can we play Stardew now? And it's like, because usually it's like, okay, yeah, we can play Call of Duty, or maybe we could play Stardew. And I always expect them to not say yes to Stardew, but they're like, no, let's play Stardew. And I'm like, it's so nice. So
it's happening.
Yes. So I just feel like very, very happy about that. The other thing that I've been doing is going for lots of walks and listening to audiobooks. So I'll talk about that a bit more when I review some books, but I have been like reading a lot more recently because I've been just like going outside. So I do have quite a few books to review once we get to that part. But yeah, it's been very fun. Okay.
Awesome.
Last weekend, we did something that you might find strange. You might find it like, why did you do that? But we went to a monster truck show.
Oh, awesome.
It was Monster Jam, which is like a big thing, I guess, that Kyle like came across it just like scrolling through somewhere, and he was like, whoa, this looks pretty cool. Maybe we should go to that. And I texted him back and said, no problem. The tickets have been booked. And he was like, what? And it was funny because I booked it like a month ago. And it just happened last week. And so we kind of actually forgot about it. Like, we got back from your wedding and we're just like, oh, okay, now life is calm. And I was like, man, we're going to a monster truck show this weekend. Like, whoa, get ready. And so we did that and it was super fun. So we like went to the stadium, got popcorn, and like it just really leaned in. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It was at the same stadium where the Calgary Stampede like evening show happens. So it's kind of like, it's a track with like a little bit of an area where the trucks can like go off jumps and stuff. But it wasn't like as much space as they probably needed to really get going. So it was a little bit of like a tame monster truck show, I would say. So now I'm like itching to go to one in a huge stadium where there's like lots of room for destruction and things. But I did see a truck do a backflip, so that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did it compare to the show you saw at Calgary Stampede? Because you saw like the motocross thing, right?
Oh yeah, the same motocross guys were actually at this as well. They were like the halftime show of the monster trucks. Which was great. That's my favorite though. I think I like the motocross better because they do lots of like really cool tricks, whereas the monster trucks were kind of just like going off a jump and then landing, and it was like, okay, what am I watching right now? But they did some two-wheel tricks. There was a whole section for two-wheel tricks where they were trying to like do wheelies, and there was some cool stuff there. So it was entertaining. It could have been more entertaining, but it was still pretty fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we had a good time with that. So that was last weekend. And then just this past weekend, so a couple of days ago, Kyle and I went to Edmonton.
Hell yeah.
We went on a road trip.
Amazing.
We went on just a day trip, and some of Kyle's coworkers were like, are you sure you don't want to like stay the night there? Like, it's kind of a long drive. And we were like, no, that's going to be fine. So we woke up at 6 a.m. on Saturday and, got ourselves ready, went and got some coffee and hit the road. And it takes about 3 hours to get there from here. So yeah, we hit the road. We went to Edmonton. We went and got breakfast. And then we went to the reason we went there in the first place.
It better be the West Edmonton Mall or I'm going to lose it.
Ariel, it was the Edmonton Zoo.
Oh!
There is a zoo in Edmonton.
Fascinating. So, I did not know that Edmonton also had a zoo.
No, neither did we. So one time, like a couple of weeks ago, Kyle and I were at the Calgary Zoo walking around. And Kyle was like, did you hear what that guy just said? And I was like, what? What guy? What did he say? And he was like, this guy behind us just said, this zoo isn't nearly as good as the Edmonton Zoo. And we were like,
that's surprising.
Edmonton Zoo? we had never heard of it. And so we were like, well, we've got to go. And so we were just kind of like waiting for the right moment to go. And we just decided a few days ago, like, let's do it. Let's just go. So we went to the Edmonton Zoo, and it was simultaneously very exciting and also sort of like a letdown in some ways, because when we first started walking around, it took us probably at least 10 or 15 minutes to see an animal. I don't know if they were all hiding or what. It was just one of those things where you're like, maybe we're here at the wrong time. There's supposed to be caribou over there. I don't see the caribou. There's supposed to be something over there. I don't see it. The Arctic wolves, where are they? They're nowhere to be seen. So we were kind of like, what even is this place?
Yeah.
But then we did kind of like a little detour off the main path. We're like, let's go look at the birds of prey for a bit. There was like a couple of peregrine falcons, which we were looking at. There was this really cool owl. So we were just looking. And then Kyle comes up to me and says, oh, I just heard some really sad news. And I was like, what? And he was like, somebody just said that the elephant is out. And we were really hoping to see the elephant. So we were like, oh man, that sucks. And then we turn around and the elephant is walking down the road.
He's like out
He's
and about.
Out and about.
Not gone. He's out and about.
Yeah, we thought the elephant was just like off site or something, because that happens at the Calgary Zoo every now and then. They'll be taken away for whatever reason. But no, the elephant was just walking down the road with a couple of like zookeepers. They were just walking her down her path. I don't know if she does this every day, but she was just like grabbing grass off the side of the
I'm looking at pictures of this elephant now.
She's pretty magnificent.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, she's great.
She's huge.
Yeah, she's a big, beautiful elephant. And so we were just like, okay, now everything's good. And from that moment, I feel like we kind of gained momentum and we started seeing a lot of really cute animals. There was a couple of wallabies, which was super exciting because I've never seen a kangaroo or a wallaby or anything in real life. And so that was really exciting. And they had like a reptile room kind of, which the Calgary Zoo doesn't have. They have a couple of snakes and a couple of tortoises, and that's kind of it. But here they had lots of different reptiles and snakes and all sorts of things. But my new favorite guy, I can't remember what he's called right now, but we'll put a picture and the name of this monkey on the screen right now. It was the cutest monkey I've ever seen in my life.
That's awesome.
He was so cute and so small, and he like came right up to me and was like looking at me right on the other side of the glass, and it was just magical. So we had some really good experiences with animals that I have never gotten to meet before. But we also got to meet their meerkats. As we know, I love meerkats.
Yeah.
This zoo has a much better meerkat situation than the Calgary Zoo. That's something I've got to say. It's like a really big area. Also, it's like far enough away from people where the meerkats are a little bit more like playful and like having fun. Because at the Calgary Zoo, the meerkats are like, you could literally like reach over and grab one of them. So I think they're a little bit scared to like get too close to you. But at this place, they were like, we could just look down into the enclosure and they would just be sitting down at the bottom staring straight up at us, and like they were making all these cute noises, and there was like 7 or 8 of them and they were all wrestling and stuff. It was just like, this is incredible. We just stood and watched the meerkats for like probably 20 minutes. So
that's so fun. I have some questions for you. The first question is, I'm looking at photos of the Edmonton Zoo, and I see the Edmonton Valley Zoo train station. There's a miniature train that goes around the zoo. Did you see this train?
No.
Or ride this train?
No.
I guess
no, that's unfortunate.
That's okay. It's okay.
I think I saw something that reminded me of a train, because at the zoo I used to go to as a kid, there is a train that like you can ride through the zoo. Yeah. And so I remember being reminded of that at the zoo, but I don't think I saw a train actually moving. I think maybe I saw it, but it wasn't going or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Question number 2. How do you feel about that man that Kyle overheard say that the Calgary Zoo is way worse than the Edmonton Zoo? Like, what do you agree with him? Do you think he was just like too sentimental about his own zoo?
That's the thing. I think he might have been like, he might have loved that zoo so much that this one just was different. But there were some things that I would say are better about the Edmonton Zoo. And the things that I liked, that I noticed like immediately, are that this zoo is very, very beautiful. It almost feels like you're walking through like a botanical garden, like a park. Like they've really done a lot of work to make it gorgeous. The landscaping is insane. There's some massive trees, and like there's kind of like this pond area where like everything is full of color and full of life, and it just looks really magical. So things like that, I could see people being like, yeah, the Edmonton Zoo is way more beautiful than the Calgary Zoo. But I do feel like the Calgary Zoo has more animals. It feels kind of more alive, I guess, in some ways. Like something else I kept noticing was that it was so quiet. Like we were at the zoo on a Saturday. There were lots of people there, but for some reason there was like no sound. And I was like, it's kind of eerie. It was a little spooky. So I don't know. There's just maybe something about the Calgary Zoo that feels more like electric. And so to me, the energy of the Calgary Zoo is better, but like the landscaping of the Edmonton Zoo is nicer. It just depends what kind of animals you want, I guess. Like if a zoo isn't complete without an elephant, then of course you're going to think the Calgary Zoo is not very good. But
does Vancouver have a zoo? Oh, it does.
Yeah, that's the
Greater Vancouver Zoo.
That's the zoo I used to go to all the time as a kid. I haven't been there in a long time though.
I want you to go there at some point in the next like year, because you're becoming a zoo aficionado.
I know. My new goal, every time I travel somewhere, if they have a zoo, I'm going there. Like that's kind of my new life goal. Because I have started dipping into Instagram every now and then just to look at like zoo stuff every now and then. Because there's a Berlin Zoo. I can't remember. There was another zoo that I came across that it's just so fun to see the different types of animals they have there. And now I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm going to go to all these zoos one day. If I ever travel to these places, I'm going to check out their zoos. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
that's really, really
cool. But
wow.
Yeah. If to conclude the zoo portion, there was also a centaur statue. I don't know why he's there. There were a couple of other mythological creature statues, and I don't really understand it. But, the Calgary Zoo has an entire section for dinosaurs. So every place is a little weird.
There's always... surprisingly a fiction section in the zoo.
Yeah, I was like, really funny. I don't get it, but okay. But yes, to conclude all of that, we also did go to the West Edmonton Mall.
Thank God.
We were like, they're not too far from each other. They're like a 15-minute drive apart. And we were like, well, we may as well at least go check it out. Like it would take, a day or two of being in Edmonton to really like soak it all in and experience it all. But we were like, let's just go back. Like it's been forever since I've been there. I have only been there twice and I was a kid both times, and Kyle had only been once as well. And so we were like, let's just go walk around. And for those who don't know, the West Edmonton Mall is the largest mall in North America. I looked this up the other day because I was like, I'm sure it is, but I've got to know. It is massive. Mm-hmm. It's like over 50 million square feet or something crazy like that. Like it is truly massive. It has roller coasters inside. It has an entire water park, like including giant water slides. It's crazy. There's also like a couple of sea lions that do a show there.
There's a skating rink.
There's multiple ice rinks. There was a bunch of kids playing hockey when we were walking around. We were like, what the hell is this? It's a truly strange place. Like it's a mall, but it's also like an activity zone. And they have every store you could possibly think of exists at this mall. It's 3 floors. And so Kyle and I, like after going to Sport Check at the West Edmonton Mall, that's why we were there.
Oh, I see.
We bought some stuff there, and then we were like, we can't buy any more stuff. Like we're good. We bought some new clothes. We bought some backpacks, and we were like, okay, I think we're good. But we were like, let's just walk around. It took us like an hour or an hour and a half just to walk around one floor. Like we just we're like, let's just keep turning right until we get back to where we started. And it was crazy. So we didn't like do a ton of shopping there, but there's also a hotel in this mall. Like you can literally stay at the mall. It's wild. So we're like, you know what, we'll be back here. But we kind of just did like a quick zip through the mall. And yeah, it was a good time, but we were very tired by the end of the day.
I have
a lot of walking.
I have 2 questions. Please. So first of all, you didn't go on a roller coaster or anything.
No.
I understand completely. Number 2, when you bought your backpack, did you wear your backpack around the mall, or did you have the backpack in a bag?
The backpack, well, it's funny actually, because like I said, we bought some clothes as well, and the girl that rung us through was like, do you need a bag? And we were like, can you just put our clothes inside the backpacks? And so she did that. She like stuffed everything in beautifully into the backpacks, and then we were like, I don't really want to carry this backpack around, so let's just go put it back in the car, because we literally were parked by the Sport Check. And so
yeah, that makes sense.
It was our entry into the mall, and we were like, let's just go put our backpacks away. So we were just walking around, no bags, arms free, and it was great.
That's perfect. That's so funny. I was imagining you guys with your new little backpacks on as you walked around.
We definitely could have done that. If we had been parked further away, I'm sure we would have done that. And the last thing I want to say is that they have a Simon's store at the West Edmonton Mall, which you just recently told me about. I had never heard of it. It's really big at the West Edmonton Mall. I got scared. We went in there and I was like, I don't think I want to be in here anymore because there's like too much to look at, and we're not shopping right now. But like, I do want to go back there someday because it looked very
and there
exciting.
Is one in Calgary that's probably smaller.
Yeah. It was a funny first experience though. I walked in and it was just like, Whoa, this place is
It's
really
a true
scary.
department store. Like Simon's is like a whole
I didn't realize
department store life.
Yeah, I felt like I was
exciting. I'm
walking
glad
into
that
the
you went.
bay or something, and I was like, whoa, this is not what I was expecting.
Whoa. Amazing. Well, it sounds like you had a couple of really juicy weekends.
I did, yeah. Now I'm like, wow, I would love to relax. But I don't get to relax anytime soon because last piece of news, I'm moving again.
Oh, yes. Of course.
I don't need to talk about it too much, but once we've done the move, maybe I'll tell the whole tale. But yeah, we're moving soon. We wanted to move to a bigger place, and so we are doing that. So despite having lived here for not quite a year yet, we're moving again. So I'm getting started on packing and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, life is fun. It's busy.
It's fun. Keeps coming at you.
Yeah.
Exhausting, but exhilarating. Lots of exciting change.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be all positive.
I'm so excited. Yeah, it's tiring, but it's all worth it, and it's all very exciting. So I'll tell you more.
All right. Well, it's time to review some books. God, we had so many life updates. Really important stuff like backpacks, bangs, and zoos to talk about.
Yeah, was that worth the time? Maybe not, but I had a good time.
We're now going to review a bunch of books. We obviously have been gone for, haven't reviewed books in a while, but we've still been reading. Actually, I sort of take that back. For the first month of our break, I barely read anything at all.
Yeah.
I obviously kind of expected that because it was the month of the wedding. And there was just so much going on with literally the wedding itself. But the prepping, the planning, and the getting all the things in my life and work, it was like an extra busy week for work, just trying to finish things up so I could take vacation time. And then the week after, Claire came to stay, and so that week was very busy. And so there was just so much going on that I didn't read at all, which was another reason I was glad that we took a break off the podcast, because I was like, there's no pressure to read. I don't have to review anything because
I agree with that.
I get a break. So that worked out really well. And it just like let me take the pedal off the gas in that way, which is great. But then I went on my honeymoon, and we largely kind of imagined the honeymoon as a time to read. Like that was one of the things we were most excited about. And like I talked about in the last episode, our honeymoon was a giant train trip. So we flew to Vancouver from Halifax, and we boarded the Canadian, and we took that train all the way to Toronto, which is like one train trip, where there are a couple of stops, but like the longest stop was 2.5 hours or something. So maybe almost 3 hours. So like there isn't like a lot to do. You're mainly on the train, and there's lots to do on the train. Like there's an activity car, and they have like talks, and there was a musician on board who played every day, and they screen movies. Like there is lots to do on the train, but like most of the activities you're not that interested in, and really you're just there to enjoy the scenery and sleep and eat and to read. And then we went from Toronto to Quebec City. We stayed in Quebec City for 4 days, and then we took another train from Quebec City to Halifax. So it was this big train extravaganza. I explain that for two reasons. First, we had a lot of time to read. Secondly, I knew obviously that this train trip was coming, and I thought, what would be awesome to read on the train? A train book. And I actually didn't finish this book, but I still want to talk about it because it was really fun to read it on the train. It was The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton. I read a third of it, and I enjoyed my time reading it, but then I started reading some other stuff, and I just let myself follow my whims, no pressure. I was trying to be like the lowest pressure of reading of anyone ever. And so I just like ended up not finishing this, and I don't know if I ever will. Like it was kind of one of those books that really was set in its era. I was like, this was for the train, and now that I'm off the train, I'm like, I don't really feel like reading that. But it's basically based on a true story about this crazy train robbery that happened, and it reads a lot like Ocean's 8 or like Ocean's 11, Ocean's 11, because it's basically this guy who's like coordinating and organizing this very elaborate robbery, and he has to like break a guy out of prison because he's the best. He's like a little boy who fits through windows really well, and he has a guy. He has to like he like has to get this person who's really good at pickpocketing, and he gets another person who's really good at opening key locks and so he's like getting together this crew of criminals to pull off this incredible train heist that, like I say, actually happened, which is really satisfying to read because you're like, wow, this actually happened. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun to read. Like I say, it wasn't like fun enough that I really wanted to finish it though. So
that sounds really good. Like that sounds up my alley. Weirdly, I'm like, wait.
I know.
I love Michael Crichton now because of Jurassic Park, and also I do love a good heist. Like that's one of my favorite little subgenres is heist movies, and
it's pretty cool. And you can just tell that Michael Crichton like loved researching this because he brings in some of the like stuff that the real criminals said in court and stuff into.
I love that too. Wait,
I know it's very cool. It was very cool. Okay, so then at one of the stops, when we got to Winnipeg, we ended up going to McNally Robinson. And I hauled this in the last episode. It's Log Off by Catherine Cross. Catherine Cross is a PhD student in information science at the University of Washington, a writer and a social critic. Her academic work has focused on a range of topics including game design, AI ethics, community management, and online harassment. And her critical work has appeared in Rolling Stone, The Verge, Polygon, The Guardian, and more. Log Off was published in 2024 by Little Puss Press. So this just caught my eye in a bookshop. I liked how little it was. I liked the look of it. And this topic, logging off, getting off your phone, social media, it's all very fascinating to me. Effectively, I would say that I think that 10 Arguments to Delete Your Social Media Accounts Right Now by Jaron Lanier, while a much worse title than Log Off, is a more effective book. I think that one is more concise. It's more effective at having a point and then saying that point. And I think it's just more compelling than this one. So out of those two, like if someone was like, I want to read a book about social media and like my addiction to it, I'd be like, read that one. That's the one I would still recommend. But if you've already read that one, you're curious about some other thoughts, I think this is a really interesting take. So basically, one of the faults with this book, in my opinion, is that she focuses too much on Twitter. Like she basically is only talking about Twitter. Yeah. And I'm like, in my head, Twitter is so dead. I'm shocked people use Twitter.
I know. It's like I got off Twitter like 12 years ago or something and have never never once ruined it.
I've never once looked back on the Twitter days, but it's just astounding to me that people still use Twitter so much. But so this was largely about Twitter as opposed to social media as a whole. Yeah. So I think that just didn't really work for me. Secondly, the kind of main angle in this is that Catherine Cross is specifically kind of looking at how does social media work for protest, for activism, for political purpose. And she's convinced that it doesn't work. And I largely agreed with most of her arguments. There were certain things that I disagreed with. So I don't give this a huge stamp of I totally agree with everything in this book. There was things that I agreed with. There was things that I didn't agree with. There was one concept in here that I loved, which was pointillist justice. And it was just a term I hadn't heard before. And I'm going to really keep in my mind this idea of pointillism as an art style of you drawing a larger picture, but just one dot at a time. She's kind of arguing that if your main approach to activism is trying to cancel one person every day, it's just going to be such a slow approach to true change. So I was like, that's an interesting use of the word pointillism. I also really enjoyed her use of the term open social media, because she was talking about how we all are using these social media platforms as these open canvases, and it just means everyone can read everyone's thoughts at all times. And is that actually the most productive use of our time when we could organize in smaller groups, like on Discords or different? And I was just like, yeah, this is so interesting. It was just a lot of interesting thoughts. Also, Catherine Cross is a trans woman, and this little publisher that's called Little Puss is run by 2 trans women. And there was a lot of discussion of like trans activism online that I found really fascinating and like scary.
Ooh, yeah.
So it was a really interesting read. There were some neat essays in here. I'm glad I read it, and I flew through it really fast because her writing, while like you can tell that she's an academic and is very clever, it was very, very readable. It felt like reading a very long, like happened to be published article online.
Cool.
So
well, that's a
cool.
good balance of things, sounds like.
Yes. All right. The other book that I read, I actually did start this at some point throughout the wedding thing, and then I ended up finishing it on the train. Sister of the Bride by Beverly Cleary. Beverly Cleary was born in 1916 and lived in Oregon until moving to California for college. She was a children's librarian and a bookseller, but her lifelong ambition was to become an author. She published her first book in 1950 and went on to publish dozens more. She won the Children's Literature Legacy Award, was named a Library of Congress Living Legend, won the National Book Award, amongst many more awards. Her books have sold more than 90 million copies. She died in 2021 at 104 years old. A hero. I love Beverly Cleary so much. You know I love Beverly Cleary. She wrote these 4 malt shop novels, these like young adult books in the 50s, set in the 50s and 60s, and they're all about a teenage girl going through some change in her life. And this one, Sister of the Bride, I was like, perfect. I gotta have it. What more perfect time could I read this book in? This was so cute, and it was so sweet, and it was super fun to read it during all of my wedding madness because I love a theme. And during, like, for months before the wedding, I watched like a dozen wedding movies. And I just like love soaking, like when it's fall, you watch the fall movies. When it's Christmas, you watch the Christmas movies. Like I love soaking into the seasons and things. And this was wedding season, right? So it was really fun to read a wedding book. And this is my least favorite of the 3 of hers that I've read.
Okay.
15 is so good. The Luckiest Girl, I think, is actually better than 15. I just love 15 for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
Sister of the Bride's definitely in 3rd place, but I still enjoyed it. It was sweet. It was very sweet. And it's basically about a girl whose sister is getting married. And she's like, I think she's 16 and her sister is 18.
Ooh.
And it's like a little controversial. Her parents don't want her to get married because she's so young, but everyone like likes her boyfriend, and she's in college now, so she's kind of independent. She can do whatever she wants, and everyone just kind of is like, well, I guess we're going with it. And then they've got to plan this wedding, and she's basically seeing her sister grow up in front of her, and she's like, wow, this is so interesting. Like, all of these ramifications of like how I would do things versus how she's doing things. And at the same time, she's seeing some cute boys on the side. And you're like, this is all very adorable. So I enjoyed it. It's not very serious at all.
Yeah.
But it was a cute thing to read sleepily on the train.
Perfect.
Which is awesome. All right, I have 2 more, but let's shift to you. Maybe you can review some of yours.
Yes. Okay, so taking it back to the beginning of August when I was going on a trip to BC. This is, it's funny looking, it literally was so long ago now at this point, but I read a book. I read half of it on the way there and the other half on the way back. And that book was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Sayaka Murata is a Japanese writer who has published over a dozen novels and short story collections, 4 of which have been translated to English. Murata worked as a part-time convenience store employee for 18 years, very similarly to the protagonist of Convenience Store Woman. This has been a long time coming. The first time I read this was, I believe, in 2020. So it's been 5 years of like talking about this book a lot, thinking about this book a lot, but not having read it more than once. And I'm so glad that I finally reread it. First of all, such a readable book. Like I was just so, usually I have a hard time reading on planes. I just like have a hard time focusing on reading, but I was fully locked in. And
that's so sick.
I was just like, I can't stop reading this. But what I had kind of forgotten about this book is how truly unhinged the main character is. Like she has a lot of really dark thoughts, which I like didn't remember. Like
I don't remember that.
Yeah, she kind of has some like violent thoughts towards people. Like if people talk a lot, she's like, ugh, I just like wish I could do this to them to make them stop talking so much. And it's like, oh my God. It's like she's kind of scary a little bit. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I do think that this works very well as like an unsound women book, because it's not that just that she's awkward and that she's strange. Like, she is kind of like scary also. But it was lots of fun. And I will say, the first time I read it, I think I gave it like a 3.5-star rating. It is now solidly a 5-star. It's like,
okay, cool.
Now that I've reread it, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't think I was ready for the weirdness of Sayaka Murata at that time in my life. And now that I've read so many more of her books, but also books that are kind of in the same genre, I'm like, yes. But it's definitely a bit weird. So I now will be a little bit more careful about recommending that to people, because it's like, it's definitely not for everyone. But cool. I absolutely loved it. But then after that, I kind of similarly to you in August, like, wasn't really reading much. I want to say for like 2.5 weeks at least, I was just like, I'm just not reading anything, and that's okay, because life was busy. I was going on trips, people were coming to visit me, it was just really busy. But after all that ended, I was kind of like, okay, I'm ready to start reading again, and I want something that's I think is gonna really like suck me in, and I won't be able to put it down. And for me, I actually picked the perfect book for that, and that book was The Compound by Aisling Rawle. Aisling Rawle was born in 1998 in the west of Ireland and now lives in Dublin. The Compound is her debut novel, which features themes of materialism, late-stage capitalism, and the performance culture created by social media and reality TV. This is like, to use the word again, a pretty juicy book. So there's a lot going on with this one. Like, the main character is this young woman named Lily, and she shows up. The book kind of just like throws you right in. She shows up at this giant house, this compound. She just wakes up in a random bed and is like, okay, where exactly am I? Like, let me go find the other people. And so it's kind of like, what is going on? Like, this isn't a normal reality TV show. It feels a little bit off and a little bit strange, but they kind of like all start finding each other and waking up, and it's there's 10 women, and then they're like, okay, I wonder when the boys will arrive, and you're kind of like, why are they not here also? And it turns out that all the men have to like make a journey through the desert to get to the compound, and only 9 of them made it. And you don't know what happened to the 10th guy, and you're kind of like, well, this is mysterious. And as you can see on the cover, there's like, in the distance, there's flames like just in the mountains, and that's something that comes up a lot too, is that like the outside world is kind of like on fire, it's kind of falling apart, like it's sort of dystopian a little bit, and meanwhile you have these people who are just like living their kind of happy best life inside of the compound on a reality TV show. And it just feels like, to me, it was very reflective of our modern society, and how like it's very easy to just like distract ourselves with things that are easier to look at rather than looking outside the window at the world that's literally on fire. Like, it just had me thinking about how like real it was, but it was also very fun. So it's kind of like a mixture of like a Love Island type show, but also a little bit Big Brother. Like, there's competitions, and like, so it's not like a survival thing. I know that there's some blurbs that kind of compare it to Lord of the Flies, but it's not like a survival situation at all. It's kind of just like a weird dating show. But yeah, it was so fun. Like, it was such a fun book, and I really, really liked it. It was exactly what I needed. So highly recommend that, especially if you like reality TV shows. Like, it's just like a fun romp, but it also has some like serious themes at the same time. So it's not just fun, which I really liked about that as well.
That's cool. I feel like you've read a couple of reality show type books this year.
I have, and I have one more to talk about as well.
Okay.
But I will just do one more quick review before I throw it back to you, because I just have a couple others after this. I also picked up Land of Mirrors by Maria Medem. Maria Medem was born in 1994 in Sevilla, Spain. She began self-publishing fanzines after completing her fine arts studies. Her latest 2 books, including the Spanish edition of Land of Mirrors, were published by Appa Appa. This is a graphic novel that I bought in my early days here in Calgary. I remember I went back to Page's bookstore specifically to pick this up because I couldn't stop thinking about it after I first saw it. The art style is so interesting and unlike anything I've ever read. Very vibrant colors and like simple line drawings. Just simple, clean art, but so beautiful. And I like was absolutely enraptured by this. It's kind of a hard book to describe or explain because it doesn't really have a plot. The main character is this woman who is like all alone in this kind of like feels like a wasteland. There's like a pack of dogs and her, and that's kind of it. And she finds this magical flower, which is on the cover of the book, that she just like becomes obsessed with, and like she takes care of it. So she just like it's her whole world is this flower. But then later in the book, another woman kind of appears and is like, why don't you come to where I live? Like, things are different there. And so she's like, okay. And so she goes there, and it's kind of just like a surreal journey. And there's not a lot of words, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's mostly just like beautiful imagery, and it feels like a dream. And it was great. Like, it was so fantastic. I'm so glad I bought it. So glad I finally read it. And I highly recommend it. Definitely goes down as one of the most beautiful graphic novels I have ever read. So
that's awesome.
Check it out.
I'm also really proud of whoever did the cover design, that they, for the word mirror, used a mirror, a metallic
That's true.
font,
Yeah,
like
you
a
can see
gloss.
on the video it is metallic.
Very good.
Very cool. And same with, like, there's these two little mirrors that are like reflecting the flower, but the bits that are mirror are also shiny. It's great. It's a beautiful book design.
All like in the details.
Yeah, everything about this is just like a beautiful book inside and out. So yeah,
awesome.
Highly recommend that as well.
All right. I have a journey to tell you about. I'm like excited. I'm scared. I'm exhilarated.
Okay.
All right. The other day, it was about a week ago, I was laying in bed and I was being kind of annoying. Looking back on it, not my finest moment. I now realize I was coming down with a cold, so that's why I was kind of just feeling like, about life in general and about everything. And I said to Connor, like, I don't know what to do. And it was like evening. It was like 9 p.m. or something. And Connor was like, you should read. I was like, I don't feel like reading. He's like, he pitched some other ideas. And you know, it's just in that kind of mood where you don't know what you want to do. Or whatever.
I've been there.
And he was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pick a book for you to read. I'm going to recommend you a book.
Scary.
And I was like, I love you, but I don't want to read a random book. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
you're just
You've
like...
got your giant TBR of books you already want to read.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I was like, I didn't want to. But then in that moment, I was like, what am I doing? I'm being so annoying. Like, just, he's trying a million things to give me solutions. Just go with it. And it was all in jest, right? I was like just teasing with him. I wasn't actually being annoying, but I was just like, okay, you know what? Sure. I'll just give it a shot.
Yeah.
So he hands me We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. And I'm like, that's an interesting choice. I've talked about that one with Raylene, actually. I know you've read it and liked it. I was like, all right, I'm going to just read a couple of pages. What's the worst I can do to go along with this bit? Very funny. So joke's on me. This is one of the greatest books I've ever read.
Whoa, I wasn't expecting that to be the one. Oh,
this is one of the greatest books I've ever read. I think everyone should literally run out and get a copy. Download it on your library app. Do whatever you gotta do. But read this book. Especially right now. Because this book is autumnal as heck.
Oh, yeah.
It's gothic. It's spooky. And it's got this really eerie vibe that is just perfect for autumn. You know, it's just perfect for autumn. So I went into this, the story that I told about like how I got this book is really important in a way because I went into it with zero expectations. Yeah. I was just like, I've randomly been handed this book. I'm going to just start reading it. The first night I read it, I read probably like, I don't know, 30 pages or something. I had one of the most intense nightmares I've ever had. I can't even tell you what it was. It was so messed up and horrible. Yeah. And the next day I'm like, I gotta keep reading that book.
I need more of whatever that was.
So I read, and I think I read this over 3 or 4 days. I totally could have read it in a day. Like it's very short. It's 146 pages. But just life being what it was, I just kept carving out these little times right before bed to read another chunk. I felt the entire time that I was reading it, I just felt like I was reading a master at work. I was like, this Shirley Jackson is an actual genius. The level of detail in this book, the masterful way of writing, it embarrassed me in a way for all modern writers. I was like, what are we all doing out here? I mean, Shirley Jackson's already done it.
Yep.
You know, like one of those moments where when you watch a piece of art when you watch a movie or you read a book or you listen to a song that you're like, it's so good that it actually humbles you. You're humbled by it.
Yeah.
That's what happened with We Have Always Lived in the Castle. So I forgot to say what the hell this book is about. It's about two sisters who live in a manor, and they live near a village, and everyone in the village hates them and are scared of them because a few years prior to the start of this book, everyone in their family died. And it's never been fully explained what happened. So everyone in the town thinks the sisters killed their family.
Yeah.
Everyone in the town thinks that they're like, you know, there's like a general like witch type vibe going on. And the sisters have now become completely reclusive. And like one of the sisters goes into town once a week to get groceries. Maybe it's twice a week, but whatever. She goes in as little as possible to get groceries. It's like an in and out operation. But other than that, they live in their little house. And they also have their uncle who has also kind of gone crazy. So you're watching the three of them in this manor, and it's disturbing. You're trying to understand what happened in the past. You're trying to understand, like, you're like, they can't go on like this, surely, but why would they change? So it's short. Like I said, it's basically a novella. And I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to spoil it. It's so good. There's key moments throughout the text where I was like, this changes everything. This changes everything.
That's awesome.
Also, I just think Shirley Jackson was is a complete master of having one small detail mean so much. An example of this is just for no reason whatsoever, she starts to mention that one of the main characters loves to bury things. And you're like, how disturbing is that?
Yeah.
That's so rich. That's so textured. And you're just like building these complex, interesting, rich characters. God, it was so good. It was so good. It like I say, it humbled me. It destroyed me. I was like, this is incredible. So then I made Connor read it.
Oh,
by the way, he hadn't read it. He'd read other stuff by Shirley Jackson, but he hadn't read this one. And he was like, now at this point, by the way, he was saying like, I am the greatest book recommender of all time.
I mean, kind of. I assumed he had read it and he chose to recommend it to you. He just knew.
He just knew. He'd read other stuff by Shirley Jackson and knew she was great.
Yeah,
I
mean, she is. Yeah.
Okay, so then he read it. He literally shed a tear at a pivotal moment. He was like, this is one of the greatest books of all time. I was like, it's one of the greatest books of all time.
Wow.
Like, we're obsessed
You're
with this
really
book.
making me want to reread it because
you gotta reread it.
It's been like 6 or 7 years since I first read it. I'm such a different person now that I think I would love it even more because I really enjoyed it, but you're making me think I need to read it again. So.
It's so good. And so I immediately ordered The Haunting of Hill House.
Of course.
I gotta go pick that up. Because I gotta keep reading Miss Shirley Jackson. She's so talented. But then I told you this led me to a whole epiphany, right? And I've made a video for our Patreon where I go into this in a lot more depth, basically talking about how I think I need to read more classics.
Yeah.
It's a long video over on the Patreon, so I'm not going to go into the insane depths again because this episode of our pod is already crazy long. But basically, I had this epiphany that I was like, every time I read a classic, I enjoy it so much in such a rich way, largely because classics are the books that have like sustained the filter of time.
Yeah.
And I know that there's like a mild amount of pushback on the concept of a classic. And I think that's healthy. I think that's great. We have to like, what do we mean by a classic? Who do we think is worthy of being a classic author in a classic novel? But I also am like, I think that pushback's a little naive. We decide what the classics are, right? And so the more we read books by a diverse group of people, the more the canon grows and becomes even more nuanced, right? Anyways, that's, again, a topic for another time. I was like, there's such richness and quality in reading classics. I was like, why am I not focusing more on that? And I also went on this whole epiphany about how this year I've actually been reading more classics than ever before. And if you think about all the Anne of Green Gables books I've been reading, like that's the main category of classics. But even Half-Breed by Maria Campbell, I would say is a classic. 1970s Indigenous Canadian memoir. It's so important to Canadian history. I'm like, one of the greatest books I read this year. I'm like, every time I read a classic, I'm enjoying it. And I just like something broke in my brain where I was like, why do I even read contemporary fiction? I obviously don't believe that, but I was just like I was just losing my goddamn mind. So I was like, I've got to read another classic. And so I say randomly, I took like 20 books down off my shelves. I start flipping through the pages and tomes like Gandalf. And I decided for really no reason whatsoever, but I decided to read Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. Anne Bronte was born in 1820 and died in 1849. She was the youngest of the Bronte literary family, which consisted, of course, of Charlotte Bronte and Emily Bronte. Her first novel, Agnes Grey, was published in 1847 at the same time as Wuthering Heights, and her second novel, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, was published in 1848 and at the time was more popular than Jane Eyre. She died of tuberculosis at age 29. Anne Bronte is an interesting character because she's very much the forgotten, the third sister. Yeah. Everyone knows that the three sisters wrote and were published together and were writing together, but Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre are the two that we think of from the Brontes. Totally. I found out that that's kind of Charlotte Bronte's fault, which I'm pretty pissed about, actually. Basically, Anne wrote 2 books before she died, Agnes Grey and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Agnes Grey never did that well. That's okay. But The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, when it was published, was more popular than Jane Eyre.
That's crazy.
And then Anne died. And so all the publishing information, like rights and copyright and everything, went to Charlotte. And Charlotte buried that book.
Oh my God.
And like in all of the records and everything, she doesn't admit to it being jealousy. I gotta assume there's some jealousy there. There's also a lot of protectionism going on where she's like, she wants to protect her sister's memory, and she, quote unquote, didn't think it was a good book. Like she literally says about The Tenant of Wildfell Hall that it was a mistake.
A mistake.
It was a very controversial book because basically that book is about a woman who leaves her husband in a time when there's no such thing as really a divorce, especially for a woman. And she runs away with her son, lives in hiding, paints, sells those paintings, and uses that money to live on, which technically is like stealing her husband's money because any money she makes is her husband's money. Yeah. So there's like, and she runs away from her husband who's an alcoholic and who abuses her and her son. So it's like a very controversial novel. And that's why it was so interesting and successful and important in its time. And then Charlotte buries it. She's like, this is way too controversial. She should not have written this. And she buries it. And then it kind of loses that steam that Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre were able to have. So obviously I didn't even read The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I'm excited to. I've got it nearby now. So look, here it is. On standby.
Up next.
Agnes Grey was okay. I read it in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
I read, it's not very long. It's like it's 203 pages, but very readable. Very readable. Very straightforward story about a governess who it's also very autobiographical. It's about a governess who lives in a parsonage, which is where Anne lived, with her sisters, and everyone's dying, which happened to Anne, and she has to go off and make her own money, happened to Anne. She goes and works for a family with, like, actually cruel, messed up children, happened to Anne, gets fired, happened to Anne, moves to a new family, happened to Anne, works there for many years, becomes close friends with the daughters that she helps raise, happened to Anne. And then she ends up moving back home to run a school with her family, basically happened to Anne. So it was very autobiographical, but it's very interesting because it really shines a light on what it was actually like to be a governess at this time. Yeah. Basically like a nanny that also educates, like a nanny/tutor of the time. So it was very interesting historically, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm like, why do I read? This is literally like the huge thing I've been on, Raylene. Why do I read? Why do I read? What's the point? Why I spend all my time doing it. So why am I doing it? Not that you have to justify to yourself, but I do think a little reflection time from time to time. Why are you doing this thing that you do? I was like, well, I like to read because I enjoy it as a pastime, like as a little bit of an escapism thing. Just like watching a movie, you get to go into a different world. That's definitely part of it. And I get that from contemporary literature all the time. But I also I also enjoy doing it to learn about humanity. And learning from the past is such a beautiful way to do that, right? To see the themes that mattered in the past and how they still matter now. There's such a beautiful resonance in that. But then also, I love reading because I love wordplay. Like, I love seeing masters writing beautiful things. And I find that so often in proven classics. And I was just like, so anyways, like I'm saying, I'm going on a whole thing right now. My brain is broken. I'm rewiring something up here. Awesome. And I really enjoy it at Agnes Grey. And to finish off my kind of reviews with what I'm quote unquote currently reading, I started A Strange Life, Selected Essays of Louisa May Alcott. And so another classic that I am dipping my toes into and enjoying. I'm going to have a lot. This is going to be a whole new thing. This is going to be a whole new theme on the podcast. Why do I even read? What?
Dang.
Like I say, you've got a whole new co-host on your hands.
Yeah, you're never going to read anything published after the year 1970 ever again.
Yeah. That's the cutoff.
That's it. That's it. That's the one.
Interesting.
That's so cool. I'm happy for you. Because you've been saying for years, man. And you often set goals for yourself to read more classics, and then for whatever reason, it just doesn't always happen. But I'm glad that it's happening now. You know, right time, right place.
Just gotta ride this wave.
I'm glad that Shirley Jackson was the one to make you switch over, because I also love Shirley Jackson. She's
good.
So awesome.
Have you read The Haunting of Hill House?
Oh yeah, that was the first book of hers I read.
Okay.
Or maybe I read The Lottery and Other Stories first. I can't remember. But I've read that. I've read The Haunting of Hill House, and then I've also read We Have Always Lived in the Castle. But she has a lot of other books too. I have been wanting to expand, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm scared to read them because what if they're not as good? But also I don't want them to be over. It's sort of like you with your George Orwell. Like I feel like Shirley is that author for me where I'm like, I don't want them to be over. I don't want to run out. But
I feel you. All right.
Okay.
You're up next.
Yes,
what do you got?
All right. I just have two last things to review. The first one isn't even really a review. It's more of a victorious, I'm taking my victory lap here. I finally finished reading The Long Walk by Stephen King.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because as I mentioned at the top of the episode, I've been doing lots of walking, which means I've been listening to lots of audiobooks. And for those who may not remember, this was my selection for my Shrek quest. What was the square called? Like Far, Far Away or something, which was to read or listen to an audiobook completely outside of my apartment, because I wanted to get myself out of this little box that I live in and get out into the world. And so I did that. I listened to the entire audiobook while walking. And it's funny because it was mostly the same path that I was just walking over and over day after day. And so now every time I walk that path, I think about the long walk and I'm like, man, oh man. And I actually kept track of my walking while I was doing this because I wanted to know at the end of it how many kilometers or miles I walked and to compare it to the people in the book.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I was like, it'll be a hilarious thing to compare. So I walked a total of 35.53 kilometers, which is around 22 miles.
Nice.
And since I had the audiobook sped up a little bit, I was walking for 8 hours and 14 minutes total. So granted, I did this over like 2 months, so it's not that impressive. Still. But the thing that I wanted to compare it to was the people in the book. How many miles did they walk? They walked around 400 miles.
That's hilarious.
And they did it in about 4 days. Because the whole plot of The Long Walk is that it's like a competition show where there's 100 people. They all have to just keep walking until there's only one person left standing. And so they don't get to stop. They don't get to sleep.
They did it in 4 days?
Yeah, it was around 4 days, I think.
Okay, so how many hours is that? 24 times 4 is 96. And you did
8 hours of walking.
8 hours. So
over many months.
96 divided by 8 equals 12. What? That's not a useful metric for me.
Do you just want to know that they walked 12 times more than I did?
No, I'm trying to figure out if their pace is similar to your pace.
Oh, I don't think we can figure that out. But their pace is that they can't go below 4 miles per hour or something like that. And I also walk pretty fast. So I don't know how quickly I was walking. But it might have been faster than 4 miles
Okay, wait. You did 35 kilometers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's
divided
how we
by 8 hours.
Yeah.
So that's 4 kilometers an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, but then what's that in miles?
Oh God, how many miles did you walk?
22-ish.
Okay, so we'll do 22 divided by 8.
Okay.
So you walked 2.75.
Whoa, they
miles.
had to walk so fast.
Yeah, they were walking double fast.
That's crazy.
But you walk quickly.
I walk really fast.
Yeah, that doesn't...
Whatever. I don't know if this adds up. You know, maybe math isn't our strong suit. But yeah, so I finally reread that. That was one that I first read. I actually think that might have been the first Stephen King book second Stephen King book I ever read. Because I read Carrie
feel like
first.
that's the one you recommend the most.
Definitely.
As well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it holds up?
I would say so. But I also feel like I've read better Stephen King books now. You know, this one I feel like is good for if you're like a teenager, maybe wanting to get into Stephen King. It kind of feels like it's like a Squid Game type of plot setup. It's a little like it's dystopian. It's a little spooky. There's like a bit of violence, but for the most part, it's just like teenagers walking and talking and hanging out with little bits of scary stuff in between. Whereas I'm more into his stuff that's kind of like more deeply scary. And like more existential, I guess. So it's still really good. Definitely holds up. I just like other things more now, but it would still be in like my top 10 for sure. Like I definitely still really enjoyed it. But after I finished that, I didn't want to stop walking. I wanted to keep walking. And so I was like, I need another audiobook. So I now have gotten into Libro FM. So every month I get a credit. And so I've been like really excited about the possibilities of that. And so the book that I ended up listening to right after the long walk was a book called You Want to Be on Top by Sarah Hartshorn. Sarah Hartshorn is a writer, comedian, and content creator, but is better known as the plus-size model from Cycle 9 of America's Next Top Model. In You Want to Be on Top, Hartshorn takes readers on a journey behind the scenes of the making of a reality TV show, exposing the bizarre, dehumanizing, and harmful acts that she and numerous others have experienced in the name of entertainment. I have to start by saying, I used to love America's Next Top Model. I love competition shows as like a young person and teen, like So You Think You Can Dance, love it. America's Next Top Model, loved it. But of course I haven't watched it in many years as it ended a long time ago. But I was obsessed with this show. And so when I found out about this memoir, I knew I had to listen to it. And I would say anybody who has ever watched and enjoyed that show has to read this book. It's so interesting seeing, like, I mean, as we know, I've been reading a bunch of reality TV sort of related books this year, including, I mean, like The Long Walk is even kind of one. So I have read quite a few now this year. And I just find it so fascinating because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And she really walks you through the process. She's like, the audition process that you see in the show is like only a fraction of what actually happens to get to that point. There's so many other like steps and like things that people don't get to see, or the way that things, obviously we know that like the way that things are edited on reality TV can be so messed up and crazy, but like the contracts that they sign they're signing their whole lives away basically just to be on the show. And it's just like, it was so fascinating hearing about all the behind the scenes of that. But also Sarah, just as a person and a narrator, because I listened to the audiobook, she is very funny and very like smart and articulate, and it's just like a really good book to listen to. I would say it made me laugh so many times, and near the end it made me cry a little. It's one of those books where it kind of hits you with some reality at the end there, and it's like wow. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite memoirs I've listened to or read in recent times. So
nice.
It's a very like specific niche type of memoir, but I really loved it. Yeah. So I finished that book, and now I am currently reading a couple of things. So the first one, which I'm actually listening to on audio as well, as I said, walking lots, listening to lots, and that is The Guest by Emma Cline. So this is a book that I actually started in like February or March or something, because I wanted to read it as my read a book with an unlikable main character for my Shrek quest, but I wasn't really in the mood for it, so I put it down. But recently I've been reinvigorated, and so I was like, you know what, maybe now's the time to read it, and I decided to listen to it on audio, and I'm now like 75 or something % of the way through, so I'll be finished it by the next time we meet for sure. But I'm enjoying it, but my God,
good.
The main character is really, really unlikable. Like, she is awful.
Perfect.
She's this
That's so funny.
she's 23, her name is Alex, and she basically is just a grifter who like manipulates people so that she doesn't live anywhere, she doesn't have a job, she just mooches off of other people. And it's really juicy, but she sucks, man. Like, she is
That's
awful.
so interesting.
So it's a really fun, it's kind of like Moshfeggy a little bit. Like, it feels like something Otessa Moshfegh might have written. So if you like Otessa Moshfegh at all, I definitely recommend this. But yeah, I'm still reading it, so I'll have a proper review next time. But then I'm also reading Eggshell Skull by Bree Lee, which is memoir that I've been reading for the past couple of weeks. I'm reading it a lot more slowly than I thought I was going to, but I'm realizing that that's the way it needs to go. It's kind of a really heavy memoir. Like, it has a lot of emotional, traumatic kind of content. And so I'm like, you know what? We're just going to take it slow. Because it's a lot. It's kind of a lot, but I'm really enjoying it for what it is. And I will talk about it more next time. But yeah, so I'm kind of trying to stick with having one nonfiction and one fiction. I think that's like the nice sweet spot for me with reading now. I used to be like a one book only type of person, but now I think I like having a two on the go.
I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore.
I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask you. You don't have to tell me. It's okay.
We are now going to do the end of the year book tag. And I'm really excited. I'm actually so excited to do this. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too.
I zhuzhed it up a little bit. I removed a question. I added 2 questions.
Okay.
Just to modernize it a little bit. Make it a little more relevant. And I'm very excited to do this thing.
Love it.
All right. Question number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? For me, the answer is yes. And the most pressing one that I just would really like to finish is Samurai Williams by Giles or Giles? Giles, thank you. Milton. I've never met anyone named Giles before.
All the Buffy the Vampire Slayer watchers are listening to this and screaming.
That's so funny. I've never seen that show. I was loving this when I was reading it. And I'm still in my head, like, I know exactly where we're at. Yeah. I know what's going on in it. And I really want to finish it. I just was really, really enjoying it. So I would love to finish this book. I don't want to let it go years without like finishing it or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, this is still a priority for me this year to actually wrap it up. How about you?
I have kind of 2. One of them I'm not sure if that was this year or not, but the main one is The Beach by Alex Garland. As you may remember, I was like in a big Alex Garland-a-thon a while ago, and I've read like almost half of it. But I kind of I was reading it in that time where I was like, okay, I'm going on a trip. Like, maybe I want to try something else. And then I kind of fell out of the groove of reading this. But it is really good. Like, every time I've picked it up, because I had a few minutes when I finished Convenience Store Woman on the plane, I was like, well, I've got a few more minutes on this plane. Like, what else do I have on my e-reader? And I happen to have this out from the library as well. So I was like, I'll just read a little bit. And I was like, oh, this is really fascinating stuff. So like, I am really enjoying it. I might have missed the perfect time to read it this year. Maybe I'll finish it another time, but we'll see.
Okay.
I would like to finish it because I don't like leaving things unfinished.
Yeah.
And the other one is Monsters by Claire Dederer. But did we start this last year or this year? That's the thing I'm not sure about.
You know what's so scary? I don't remember. But I remember starting it and loving it.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing is, I bought this after moving here. So it would have been November or December if it was last year. And I don't think that it was. So I do think that we started it this year. But I could be wrong. So I would like to finish this. So those are my 2 for that question.
Okay, cool. Question number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And this can just be a book you recommend to people or a book you want to read that's kind of autumnal for this time of year. You already know what I'm about to say. We've Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson.
Hell yeah.
It is the autumnal book that transitioned me into the end of the year. Like I read this book and I was like, I'm in spooky mode now. Here. Like, it is so autumnal in like a dead way that it's just perfect. And I think if you are out there listening and you're like looking for that kind of gothy book, like, oh, it's time to read something, but it's not Halloween-y. Right. Like, it is not like vampires or something. It's just like spooky gothic. It's the one. It's the one.
Wow, that is perfect. I have a few on my bedside table that are like I'm getting ready to jump into. And so I have 3. I'll go through them quickly. The main one that I think will probably be my first real spooky book is The Ritual by Adam Neville, because this is a movie that I now watch every single year at the spooky time because I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite horror movies. And I've been dying to read the book. So that one,
Cool.
it's like becoming a bit of a mashed potato. I think I need to do it. But I also have The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, which, as you may remember, was one I bought last year. I was like super hyped about it and I wanted to read it last October and I didn't. This one is more of like a thriller, but I've heard it's like really, really dark. So I might have to wait for it to actually be October to start that one. And then the last one I have here is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I still have not read any books by T. Kingfisher and I have been meaning to. This one's like a folk horror book. And I love folk horror movies, maybe other than slashers. That's like my top horror genre. So I've been wanting to read a book like that. So I just need to figure out which one to read first.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's fun. Next question, number 3. Is there a new release that you're still waiting for? No.
That's
I don't
funny.
have one.
I thought that I didn't have one, but then I realized that I do have one. I think it comes out tomorrow, like as of today's recording. I'm pretty sure it comes out September 23rd. We Love You, Bunny by Mona Awad. The sequel to Bunny. Although I don't think I'm going to purchase it because I don't want the hardcover. I have Bunny in paperback, so I think I'm going to need to get that from the library. But I also kind of want to reread Bunny before reading it. So I might not get to it until like next year or something anyway. So it's like a new release I'm looking forward to, but I'm not necessarily going to go out and buy it. So
I think that's cool though. I poked around and I was like, there's some that look neat, but nothing that I'm like, I definitely want to read it.
Yeah, totally.
Next question. Number 4. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So this is a little bit of a TBR.
Yeah, it was scary.
It is scary. Okay, for me, it's like a joke. It's like a big joke.
Okay.
Briefly a Delicious Life.
Wow.
By Nell Stevens. I have been meaning to read this book, I don't know, 5 years or something. Like every year I've mentioned this book in this tag. It's about a ghost who's a nun, or a nun who's a ghost in a monastery, and she's been there for hundreds of years. It sounds so good. I started reading it a few years ago and loving it, and then I just put it down, and now I've really psychologically like freaked myself out.
Yeah.
Next up is Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I still would really like to read it before the end of the year. And then the final one is Anne of Angleside by Lucy Maud Montgomery. This is the 6th Anne of Green Gables book. I've read 4 of them this year. I'd love to keep going. They bring me so much joy, and it would be good to not lose the momentum. So I'd like to read this one.
Amazing. Well, my little TBR is also kind of like random and maybe not things that you would expect. Well, the first one, you're going to see this coming. This one is also a hilarious joke. So, The Magical Language of Others. Am I ever going to read it? Am I ever going to read this book? This, to me, there's something about this when I see it, I'm like, that's a November read.
Yeah.
November or December. That's like an end of the year when like there's snow on the ground. It's quiet. Life is quiet. I don't know. There's some reason that I always associate that with the end of the year. So we'll see. But I also, and I don't know if this is like the right season, but this is the vibe I'm getting as well for this, is The Hour of the Star by Clarice Lispector. Because this is like short, which I think is always good for the end of the year as well if you're trying to squeeze in more books. But also like our friend Max read this recently and he loved it. And so now I'm like, I bumped it up on my list a little bit. And I was like, you also got this for me. So it feels like a nice friendship thing to do. Actually, the next book I have here was also one that you gifted me. And this, like, I looked at my shelves and was just like, what am I feeling? I don't have any reasons for any of this stuff. It's kind of just like, what was I feeling? Walking Through Clear Water in a Pool Painted Black by Cookie Mueller. So, as we know, I've been reading lots of, like, in the biz type books this year, and I want to kind of continue that. And this one seems like it'll be really juicy and fun and interesting. And I want some more of that. I think it'll be a really fun one to, like, go out on, like to end the year on maybe. So I've been wanting to read it all year. It just kept not happening. So that's why now I'm like, I feel like I do really want to read it before the year's over.
That's really cool. Okay. Next question. This is one of the new questions. What trends have you noticed in your reading this year? I think it's a fun little reflection point to be like,
what did I do?
We're 3/4 of the way through the year. What have you noticed? Here are 2 things. First of all, classics are sparking the most joy. 36.8% of my reading this year has been classics, which is so much higher than usual.
Yeah.
And that could technically be 40% if some like half-breed I have marked as memoir,
Right.
but it's also a classic. It's hard with the spreadsheet because you can only choose one category for each thing. Maybe there's a way to click more than
There's
one. I
gotta
need to
be a
figure
way.
out tags or something. Anyways, when I look at my rating versus the genre, the classics have the highest rating,
Oh, interesting.
which makes so much sense because again, they've existed through the grand filter of time.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense that you are more likely to enjoy them because they have stood the test of time in a real sense of, yeah. Anyways, so that is one trend that I've noticed. The other trend, this is interesting, in my opinion, I haven't reread anything this year. A single thing.
Crazy. And I've reread quite a few now, so I'm definitely gonna win this year.
That's so strange. That's so strange for me. I usually reread. And like last year I reread a lot.
Yes.
So it's strange to me that I haven't reread anything this year. That's really weird. But that's just a trend that I've noticed. Those are the two that I picked out. What did you notice?
Yeah, well, I mean, my first one that I noticed we've already talked about, but I've been reading a lot of in the biz books this year. So like I've read a lot, maybe not a ton of memoirs from celebrities, but like I read Britney Spears' memoir this year. I've read a couple of books now that were about reality TV. Like Cue the Sun was the one that kind of started it for me.
Yeah,
that's the one that I honestly have not like stopped thinking about that book. And the Sarah Hartshorn book, the America's Next Top Model one, she mentions that book in her book. And I was like, yeah, man, it's an awesome book. So that's something I've definitely noticed and I want to keep digging deeper. Like I want more books that are like that really like peel back the curtain to see like what is actually going on behind the scenes here. Because a lot of people watch reality TV, including myself, and it's like, yes, it's entertaining and it's fun, but there's such like a dark side to it, and I want to know more about that dark side.
It's really dark.
It's really dark. And a lot of times though, it's like people are like sworn to secrecy. It's like they can't talk about these things, and so that's why you like maybe don't hear a lot about it, but I need more. So if anybody has book recommendations or documentaries, whatever, I don't care. I want more of it.
Oh, a documentary I can imagine
a doc would be awesome. So yeah, that's my first main big one that I think will just be the theme of this year for me. But also, of course, I did have a little robots moment.
You totally did, yeah.
And I mean, I can still see myself going back into it because I bought some robot books that I didn't end up reading because I got taken away from the wave with Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park turned me into a dino gal instead. But yeah, that was a big thing for me during the summer. There was robots. So
you know what I was thinking about Jurassic Park?
What?
Yes, it's a dinosaur book, totally, but it's also a zoo book. That's a book about a zoo.
Maybe that's why I like it so much.
I think the reason you like it isn't necessarily the dinosaurs. I think it's that it's a zoo book. It's a book about a crazy zoo.
It is a crazy zoo, and it's also about science and stuff. And I just like, there's a lot of different things going on there to like. But yeah, it's true. Like, if you ask me, like, what's your favorite dinosaur? I'd be like, I don't know any. Like, the truth is, I don't really care about dinosaurs, but it was a lot of fun.
Whereas that book is like about bad zoo management, and you take a tour of the island and the about facilities.
Like rich people taking advantage of their richness and doing things without thinking. And so it's more about that. And I found that very interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. The next question. This one, like, I literally have like a little butterflies in my stomach. My answer to this one. Okay. Question number 6, another new one. How do you feel about your reading goals? Is there anything you want to change, adjust, or abandon, or do you want to stay the course? I'm just going to read you what I wrote, really.
Okay.
I am officially abandoning all of my goals.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. You know, I really, really respect that. I was thinking about your goals and I was like, they're not happening. Like,
no,
they're
not happening. And I think that this year, it's been such an interesting year in my life in many ways. Obviously, like getting married is such a huge life change in a lot of ways. But outside of that, it's just been an interesting year in my life. And I think these goals really made sense to me in the first half of the year, and they don't really anymore. And when I'm looking at my reading, I've actually had a really great reading year. Like, I have read a lot of great books this year, books that I've really enjoyed. But really random stuff. And like the largest randomest mission has been this whole reading all of Anne of Green Gables backlist books. Like, it's just like, who cares in a way that I'm reading that? It's not topical.
Yeah.
It's not particular. It's not contemporary in any sense of the word. But I've loved those books. And so many of the books that I've loved and read this year have been classics from the backlist, random things. And I'm just enjoying that route. And I was thinking earlier, like this week and stuff, when I was prepping these questions, I was like, in order to accomplish any of my other goals, I basically have to abandon what I'm doing and what's working for me. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm enjoying how I'm reading. When I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle and then Agnes Grey, there was all of these thoughts swirling in my head about, why don't I read more classics? This is so interesting. So they're suddenly clicking in a really fascinating way to me. And really, it's kind of like We Have Always Lived in the Castle synthesized something that has slowly been happening throughout the year with classics. One of the epiphanies that I had was that it's a form of reading that so beautifully feels like an antidote to social media.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I love and I will continue to read contemporary literature. Obviously, I'm not like, that's it, I'm never reading literary fiction again. But most years, Raylene, when we look at what year were your, like, the most of the books you read published, they're all 2020s.
Yes.
We read, you and me both, largely read books that were published in the last few years. And I feel like this is what the internet, the bookish internet, really, like, encourages you to do. Like, read what's currently being published and what's currently topical. What I've noticed about that, though, is that it really keeps you caught in the current conversations, the current moments, the current anxieties, the current stressors, and like all of these things are commentaries on what's currently happening. And I'm like, I know what's currently happening. I know. And reading these books, like these classic books, it is a commentary on what was happening in their time. And there's so many lessons to be pulled out for our time, but they're so far removed in this unbelievably calming way. Where I'm just like, I'm still learning. There were so many words in Agnes Grey that I was just like, God, this is making my vocabulary so much better. Wow. Words that I haven't seen used in a really long time or whatever. Lots of words I had to look up. I was like, what is that word? Suddenly I've started using the word quandary a lot.
Ooh,
I'm in a moral quandary. I just keep using the word quandary. I'm like, I'm becoming smarter. I'm sharper. It's almost like I'm saying, like, this antidote to this attention-seeking, very short attention span world. Reading a classic really requires you to calm down, take your time, and, like, operate this part of your brain that I think we can fall out of use with, right? So, I'm like I tell you, I'm on a whole freaking thing right now. I'm in no way saying we should only read classics. I know there's going to be someone out there who's like, she thinks you should only read classics. Now, I'm not saying that, but I am saying, wow, this has been an interesting reading year for me.
No, I'm enjoying that, because another thing, I guess, to look at with our spreadsheets is how many of the books that are published in 2020 that we're reading, we're reading a lot of them. How many of them are we actually loving?
Exactly.
Compared to the other years.
And when I looked at which ones I'm loving, they're all the classics.
That's it. I'm going to have to take a closer look at that. I'm going to take a closer look at that for our next quarterly update. So maybe I'll have some juicy information there too. As for me, my Shrek quest right now, okay, so it's 25 squares.
Cool.
Right?
Yes.
One of them is little bonus in the middle. I think I have completed like 15 of them or something. Nice. So I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm happy with what I've done. Yep. I could definitely keep pushing to try and do every single box, but I don't really want to. I'm kind of in the same boat as you right now, where I'm like, if I do that, I won't have time for what I might actually be in the mood for. You know what I mean? And also with the move and everything, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have time to make a song. I don't know if I'm going to have time to crochet an entire Shrek vest, which is what I plan to make as my crochet item.
That's awesome.
I just don't know if I'm going to have time, and I don't want to force anything. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to abandon them completely. There are still things in play right now. Like, both of the books I'm currently reading are technically things that work for the Shrek quest. So, like, I am working on it, But I'm also, I want to set myself free a little bit at the same time. Like, I want to read some Halloween-y books, and none of those work for the quest at all. So I'm kind of in a weird in-between right now. It does have me thinking. Yeah, I feel like I often get this way at the end of the year where I'm like, why did I set goals at all? They're just trapping me. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think setting goals is so important because I think it's very difficult to achieve anything in your life if you don't try.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't make a plan, you just will go through your life not really getting much done. Like, whether it's for your hobbies or for more like your career, like, you do need to attempt it.
Yeah.
But I think you also need to keep checking in on them to make sure, do these still reflect my actual goals or values? Or like, am I just doing this because I decided to do it a long time ago? Or is there a new strategy I could implement to make this actually make sense, right? Like, so there's all these things you have to check in on. And at a certain point, you're allowed to be like, these goals don't matter to me anymore, actually.
Yeah.
Like, they just aren't working out, which is a perfect transition into the final question. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? My answer is no, because I'm so invested on this new lease on life.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like something's going on. In many ways, I feel like my life is like I was saying, the back to school future vibe, like a really new chapter, a fresh turn page. I finished this giant project and I'm so happy and proud of the whole wedding and honeymoon and everything. It was such a beautiful era. But like, now that it's done, like, we put the final stamp on the final thank you card. Like, it's done. Now I'm like, okay, it feels like kind of like the start of a new year in a way.
Yeah.
So at least a new quarter. And I'm just like, wow, I'm really enjoying these classics right now. I'm enjoying this new type of reading. What is there here? So I kind of just want to use the rest of the year to keep exploring what's going on. But I am excited to make goals for next year with this new lease on life.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see now what your goals for next year will be. What is it going to be? I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I wrote down, not really. More so in terms of future goals and plans, I'm more so right now thinking about, like, we're going to be living in a new house, in a new area. And like, what is that going to look like? More so right now, I'm thinking about, like, what kind of activities am I going to be wanting to do next year? And like, it's more, I'm looking outside of reading more than anything right now. So as we get closer to the new year, I will start thinking about it, but it's not even on my radar right now.
That's
quite frankly
very similar.
Yeah.
Well. Something quarter quell. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. We knew it was going to be a huge update because it was like our big episode back from our big break with lots to tell you about our reading and reviewing and stuff. But I'm glad we're back in the swing of things. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you would like to do the tag yourself, please do. We will link to the questions in the description, but we'll also have them on the Instagram, I'm sure, and things. So if you do it, definitely tag us, because I'm curious to see what people are feeling. God, I'm so excited I feel like I was having a great reading year, and then it started to waver a little bit, and now I feel like I'm having a great reading year.
Oh, heck yeah.
Which is fascinating. All right, we're going to go and record the Media Tub, which is a big rundown of all the shows and music and YouTube videos and movies and other media that we've been consuming. We're going to go record that. It's going to come out on our Patreon. If you're interested, our Patreon is also linked down in the description, patreon.com/booksunbound. And meanwhile, we'll talk to you on the podcast in a few weeks. Bye.
Bye.